the players are back there, I'm sure they are as nervous as anybody here in this stadium right about now. Of course, so many changes during the off-season. Not so much for the Panthers or the Eels in this first game, but Jason Taylor in the number 7 for that team there. The blue and golds of the Eels let out tonight once again by their captain and front rower, the 22-year-old Nathan Kalis. Already so much experience international for the Kiwis, and there is the number 7. I suppose apart from the move of Brett Kamali from the Melbourne Storm to the Northern Eagles, that man there has had so much spoken about him already, Laurie.
Yes, he certainly has, Warren. I'm expecting a good game from Jason Taylor tonight. In the off-season, he wrote a letter to the Parramatta club asking them if they would take him on. He didn't blame the Northern Eagles, he blamed himself, and I really believe that he could play a major role if Parramatta to win the competition this year.
The Panthers already, we've spoken about their interrupted start to the season. Once again, so many injuries. The likes of Matt Adamson, Tony Puletua and Carl McNamara will be watching this game from the stands. And it is a very small pack that will take on that improved Parramatta pack from last year, led out by Steve Carter tonight, playing his 223rd game for the Panthers, just 12 games away from breaking the all-time club record of 233 first-grade games, which belongs to his coach, Roy Simmons.
Well, you look at the two packs, you see that the Penrith pack is a lot smaller. Big Eels pack, you think that Brian Smith will make sure that the opening stance of this game is all bash and bars. He'll take them on up front, and I think that, you know, if Penrith are to win this match, Steve Carter and Matthew Rodwell, the two halves are going to play either side of the ruck, and they're going to have to move that ball very wide. They've got some very quick players out wide. They need to get the ball to them. When you look at the Eels' back line, they're a young back line, a whole host of youngsters. You know, Pat Richards, 18, Ryan Lecky's only 20, Jason Moody's probably the oldest at 26, Brett Hodgson, he's only 23, so not a great deal of experience, but they did get some from last year. Interesting matchup very early in the game. I think the opening stanza will decide who'll actually take this out. Look for the two halves from either side, Jason Taylor and, of course, Matthew Rodwell, in their kicking games to play a big part in moving them either side of the field.
Billy Harrigan is the referee, the man in charge of the first game in this 2001 Telstra Premiership. He blows time on. Parramatta in their blue and gold will defend the southern end of Stadium Australia, hosting a capacity or maximum capacity of 110,000 fans for the last time tonight. It will be reconfigured after tonight's games to be an 80,000 seat stadium as the Panthers work it away from inside their own 20. Robbie Beckett plays it. It comes back to Bitter Jorgensen, met heavily by Nathan Kalis. The Eels up off the line very early. Girdler, of course, a cortisone injection just a couple of days ago after straining that groin at sprint training earlier in the week. Frank Puletua.
Warren, look for a no-frill start off both of these two sides. They'll try and work it up to 6 and get a decent kick away. And that'll be the same with Parramatta once they get the ball.
Last tackle for the Panthers, and Rodwell it is, who gets not a long kick away. It will bounce down to Brett Hodgson. What a season he had for the Eels last year after moving across from the western suburbs Magpies. Moody. Also impressive in the run to the finals and then through the finals also, before the Eels were bundled out of the Premiership. The second last hurdle by the Brisbane Broncos. Hodgson, as they keep it alive, gives it away to Ian Hindmarsh. The Hindmarsh brothers in the second row tonight. Drew, of course the former Panther, gives it off to David Wesley. He bumps it forward for about 5 or so yards. 35 out from the Panthers line. Kalis, look for an offload, just takes it to the line. Last tackle now for the Eels. Wesley wasn't expecting it. Put a kick in. Not a bad one either. Richards, we've seen that before, fly so high. And he took the ball on the full spectacularly and wrapped up, a good thing too, by Robbie Beckett.
Oh, well, that was great play there, Pat Richards. As you can see, he got up high for that mark. Took it fantastically well. But Robbie Beckett was on the spot. You can really start to notice the difference in the two sides. Penrith coming out of trouble, they're just looking for dummy half runs. They're not looking to do anything flash with the football, whereas Parramatta, they've talked about trying to score a lot more points in the off-season, and they're showing a bit more flair.
First time Billy Harrigan's used the whistle, and you expect what he's going to do. Either a holding down penalty or offside, and that was a holding down, so look for plenty more of those to, in this opening stanza, to settle the two sides.
The Panthers get their first chance deep in attack as Puletua almost bust them open. Drew fell off the tackle. He was wrapped up eventually by Andrew Ryan. They go to the right-hand side. Sattler takes it inside the Parramatta 20. They are fanned out to the left-hand side. Carter spins it. It goes to Cross. He tries to take on Jason Taylor. Hangs onto the legs. We'll play it. 10 metres out. 3 minutes gone. No score here at Stadium Australia. Sattler takes it to the line again. Gower stands at dummy half. Gives it off to Rodwell. Grubber and Hodgson read it so nicely.
Gee, that was nice, Warren. He got down on the same plane as the football. He was never going to lose that. He had it all covered, put the body right on the line in that particular situation. It was a good kick, though. Well judged.
Enterprising set of 6 from the Panthers. They picked up plenty of metres. A good run from Frank Pulatua early on. Kalis will play it about 24 out. Drew. It's off to Taylor, and they kick early in the count. See if it's a tactic they use in this first half from deep inside their own territory. Beckett it is who has it for the Panthers. Girdler. And the Penrith bench will have their eyes focused closely on Ryan Girdler in these opening exchanges to see just how he's running, if his movement is free.
Penrith getting their quick men in the dummy half and trying to move the ball away from those big Parramatta forwards. You just seen Jorgensen slip in there. Of course, Beckett and Ryan Girdler have just taken the ball up as well, so they'll look to move it.
Ball on the ground, stand
3-6. You heard Bill Harrigan use the ball to lever himself to his feet, place the ball on the ground before he was on his feet. We saw a crackdown on that particular penalty. Interestingly enough, it was between these two teams last year, if you cast your mind back, when Stephen Clark blew so many penalties in that game between the Panthers and the Eels. A game, interestingly enough, which was won by the Panthers with a penalty goal by Chris Hicks. Wagon takes it inside the Panthers 30. Kalis spent a lot of time at first receiver. Taylor standing wide of the ruck. Gives it off to Hindmarsh. Nathan, that is.
We can already start to see the Eels playing a more expansive game of football than what they were last year. The first tackle off the tap, they spread it to the right-hand side and then straight back to the left-hand side.
Violecki busts the tackle. Got to within about 5 metres of the Panthers line. They went very close to scoring. Taylor fires a pass to Wagon. Steps off the right foot. Wrapped up by Sattler and Cross. Hodgson goes to dummy half and they go right again. Taylor rubbering, too heavy.
Yeah, it was a good idea there by Jason Taylor, but the kick was just a little bit heavy. I think the tactics of Penrith, they're trying to control the ball and they don't want to make too many mistakes early. They realise Parramatta have got a bigger forward pack. They want to just run from dummy half and wear the Parramatta forwards out.
Craig Greenhill in an awkward position there in the tackle, and Harrigan says he's happy for that to be play on. Domick gets it across the Panthers 30. Pulatua takes it up again strongly. A good tackle though by Nathan Hindmarsh. Of course now a kangaroo. Greenhill again. Played 70 minutes in both of the Panthers trials. And Roy Simmons is hoping he can fill a similar gap for him tonight. In the starting 13, of course, the interchange rule. So much has been said about that in the off-season. We'll see how both coaches use their 12 maximum replacements. Hodgson watches that one trickle across the sideline. And the Panthers, another good set of 6.
Yeah, good set of 6 by the Panthers, trying to move the ball a little bit wider. That kick, though, expect to see that. They'll be looking for territory. Both of the sides will want to spend a great deal of this first half in the opposition's 10-metre zone. If they can get it, both sides will be looking for an early try. They want to get on the board, there's no doubt about that. Both will be hungry to get a point up on the scoreboard.
7 minutes gone, still no score. Michael Butner was listed as a replacement, but started the game at right centre for Jamie Lyon, who has gone back to the bench. Taylor fires a long pass to Kalis. 1-on-1 with Sid Domick. Significant height and the weight advantage for the Eels against the Penrith pack coming into this game. Certainly a small side for the Panthers when you take out the likes of Adamson, Pulatua and McNamara. Wesley close to the ruck, straight through a gap. Good tackle by the captain. Carter picked him up, and a good thing too, because Wesley was away. Jorgensen. Good chase from the Eels. Another impressive set of 6. Still no points to show for it. Sattler runs into his former teammate Drew. Pops a pass to Girdler. And his few chances with the ball. No sign that he's suffering from that groin strain. Cross takes it up towards the halfway line. Busy as ever. Rodwell gives it off to Carter. Options here. Domick almost fell over in the end. And David Woods right on his hip. Carter didn't have too many places to go. There's Woods off to Domick. Trying to work a 3-on-2 down the blind side. Picked up about 15 or so metres. Last tackle for them though. Carter quickly off to Rodwell. And a midfield bomb. Some pressure coming up from Richards. He's so good under the high ball. He can't pick this one up though. Play on. No, Harrigan says there was a knock on. And it came on the last. It will be a Parramatta ball.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the wrong bloke to kick to that up to Paddy Richards. But Robbie Beckett does well to get underneath and steal that football. But he just loses it at the last moment. And Parramatta have got the ball back out on the 20.
It's promising for a moment for the Panthers when the ball came loose. But there was the smallest of knock-ons there. Hodgson. Taylor. Standing flat at first receiver. Nathan Hindmarsh just bumped away from a couple of defenders. What a start to the season.
Jeez, what about the power in that Fen? Get out of my road, he's telling this opposition.
Oh, Taylor, a good ball back on the inside as well for Hodgson. They are finding some gaps. This, what was supposed to be a more mobile Penrith pack, finding it hard to go with the Eels at the moment. They haven't given them too many chances to score at close range, but they have picked up plenty of metres yet again in this set of 6. Hodgson this time puts the weighted kick in. It bounces up for Hicks. Jorgensen had to make plenty of hit-ups early on. A couple of sets ago, took it up a couple of times. Completion rate you see for both teams. Just the one mistake from the Panthers so far. The Eels, 5 from 5, a perfect start to the season. Brian Smith would like that trend to continue. Girdler. How can he get that left arm free? Well wrapped up by Butner.
Too much in there, holding over him. Never got to play the ball properly.
Bill Harrigan again.
Never got to play the ball properly.
Blowing a penalty for the Eels, getting in there, trying to play the ball down. Not the first time he's blown that penalty in the favour of Penrith so far in this game.
Yes, Bill's favourite call, the holding down, loves to blow the whistle. This will help Penrith though, this will put them on the attack. There's been very few opportunities for both sides. The defence has been first class. We haven't seen a great deal of offloads.
Greenhill. Charge into them, take it up towards the 30. Pulatua. See those Parramatta forwards working, trying to get the Penrith attacker on his back in the tackle. Sattler, as they work a switch in and around the ruck. Well, Sattler lost the ball, hung on to it, and it's play on. Girdler goes quickly from dummy half. Trekking across, but in fact it was Gower. Trying to link up with Steve Carter. The pass wasn't a great one. Had it found the fingers, Carter might have been through a gap.
Yes, Parramatta off the hook there. They used their set play on the third tackle and it just fell apart after that. They're a little bit off their combination, a little bit slow on the timing, maybe a half a yard off the pace. And then when they came back to the right-hand side, again, ball just in front of Steve Carter and unfortunately didn't go to him.
Drew turns it back to Taylor. Butner trying to step in back behind the area of the play the ball. The gap closed quickly. Richards bumps away from the tackle of Girdler, who comes again to finally drag him down. The ball will come loose. Bill Harrigan will wait and say it was just lost by Richards. He's waiting for the whistle to blow and the penalty to go the way of the Eels after we saw a similar one go to the Panthers.
Yeah, well, last year I'm sure that would have been given a penalty, but They're fighting in the tackle. I think he's just let go of it. I think that's a fair call by the referee.
Girdler was struggling before this game. He's shown no signs of it so far. And so far, Michael Vella and the likes of PJ Marsh still have their seat on the bench. And we've had almost 13 minutes of play and no change by either coach just yet. In stark contrast to what we've seen in recent times, gentlemen.
There would have been 10 replacements by now. There's a short kick by Rodwell.
Beckett chasing through, coming across on the left-hand side. The ball came loose away from Moody. And Hodgson was there to pick it up. A good thing because Hicks was right there with him. Early kick. Some enterprise shown by the Panthers. And once again, yes, the Eels will have to work it out from deep inside their own territory.
Ball across here, fellas, and never come back to me.
Penalty finally goes the way of the Eels.
It's very noticeable with the Eels that they're spreading the ball to one sideline to the other, and then they're trying to attack the Penrith Panthers back down the middle of the ruck. So they're trying to spread the Panthers defensive around and then try and work them around in the middle.
There are the Eels spreading it on the first tackle. Violecki had to go high. He's already pushed away from Woods and gone very close to getting through for the first try of the game. On this occasion, Woods was able to match up on him a little more successfully as Hindmarsh takes the power of stopping. What a future he has, the strong second rower. Kalis takes it across the halfway line. Drew gives it off to Wesley. Taylor. Ball to Ryan, put down. Wagon couldn't come up with it. It comes the way of the Panthers. And it is Robbie Beckett who'll play it. One of the few mistakes Parramatta have made early in this game.
Well, Parramatta are using the ball, but Penrith, they're just going one out of running from dummy half. When they get inside the 30, they're looking to spread the ball. I'd just like them to try a little bit more in attack, and hopefully they might come up with something different, because at the moment, Parramatta are handling their attack pretty well.
Lee Hopkins and Jody Gould there on the bench for the Panthers, getting ready to taste this premiership for the first time in 2001. Roy Simmons has waited almost 15 minutes to get a couple of reserves up off the bench. Carter going back in behind the play the ball. Fired a long pass to Hicks. He tracks back across field. Tackled nicely by Jason Moody. Last tackle now, 25 out from this Eels line. Rodwell took his time getting the kick up. Once again, he goes to that right-hand side. Richards, the new rock, took it beautifully.
Well, he's about 6'6", so I don't think he'd be the bloke I'd be kicking to. I think I'd be trying Moody out before I put Richards under pressure.
He has been spectacular under the high ball. We saw that so many times. He's got a couple of tries from bombs last year after coming into the side against Auckland in round 17, and very quickly found himself a regular fixture in this run on 13 for the Eels. Violecki, himself a huge man, 98 kilos off him, playing out there at left centre. A real handful tonight for David Woods. Taylor turns it back for Wesley, who was hit very high by Scott Sattler. Play on. Comes back to Hindmarsh, who once again runs into Scott Sattler. Takes them an age to get him to ground, to slow play the ball. The Panthers will like that. Drew gives it back to Hindmarsh again. Pushed away from David Woods. Got the pass to Violecki. He stands there, flings it to Hodgson. He keeps it alive. It goes to Wesley. Taylor, numbers for the Eels if they can get it there. Great pass. It comes back to Kalis. Ryan trying to link up with Butner, who will set sail for the corner. Turned it back for Richards, who dropped it. Knocked backwards. Play on. It comes to Hodgson. He looks to find the post and will get there for the first time.
Great try.
What a try for the Eels to start things in the Telstra Premiership.
Well, we thought they'd do something different this year with attack. They bought attacking players in the off-season. Jason Taylor, David Solomona and Michael Butner. For the last half of the year, they had Brett Hodgson out injured. But here he goes, Hodgson, what a run. He steps a couple, pushes off Pulatua there at the end.
Hodgson sees this and he runs into the space way for the long ball. He calls that long ball. He can see there's a huge hole there. He puts his foot to the pedal, has a little peekaboo here to see if he's got someone outside him, but he decides to go all the way himself, and gee, that's a classy bit of play. The lead-up play to that was fantastic. This is a very, very enthusiastic Parramatta outfit, A lot of youngsters, they just want to play the game, and aren't they delighted?
I think the key is, though, Russell, they're playing a lot different style to what they were last year. Last year, they were more percentage type of football. This year, they have surprised me with the amount of times they've spread the ball from one sideline to the other. Well, they are getting gaps, and I think Penrith, they should take a look at, or take a leaf out of the Parramatta book, because if they keep running from dummy half or going one out, the scoreline could end up a lot bigger than this.
Jason Taylor from right in front should have no trouble making it 6-0 to the Eels, and he does exactly that. And before this game started, Jason Taylor needed another 193 points to break the all-time scoring record set just last year of the Canterbury Bulldogs' Darryl Halligan. With a successful season for the Eels, and Jason Taylor, if he can stay healthy and stay in first grade, you would figure with his boot he'll go very close to breaking that record.
Yeah, well, I think he's only got 200 points to go before he breaks the record, and the kind of form that the Parramatta Eels are showing means that they're going to score points this year. Last year they had the best defensive record in the competition, but down in the bottom half of the twos with the attack.
Missed tackles so far until sorry tale for the Panthers. 10 missed tackles for Penrith, none for the Eels. And a couple of those missed tackles would have come in that last set of 6 in the lead-up to that Brett Hodgson try. What a try it was. It looks likely to score through either Buettner or Richards on the right-hand side. It was Hodgson who scored right under the black dot.
Well, this is the danger period in the game now. 20 minutes have gone. Players are starting to feel a bit fatigued. Can they get their second win? The side that handles it best, they'll come up with some points right now. We just saw Parramatta get the first try. Basically, they just outnumbered them. They didn't count. Their mind was tired. They stopped thinking. Now it's Penrith's turn. Will the Parramatta outfit tire? I find that hard to believe with such a young and organised outfit.
And they're almost away as well, with Hindmarsh just spilling the ball at the line. Now Penrith get their chance perhaps to reply. Greenhill will play it. Comes to Rodwell. Carter gives it to Domic. Up very quickly was Wagon. It drops down for Hindmarsh. He's away. Wood struggling to catch him. He tries to push away from him and then flips the ball to Jason Moody. And in the blinking of an eye, it's Parramatta 10, the Panthers nothing. And the Blue and Gold Army have picked up from where they left off last year. Baby Eels, they're playing like great white sharks.
Well, we speak about the Parramatta defensive line. That was the best in the competition last year. They trust one another, and they're the best talkers in the competition. You can see Hindmarsh swooping on that loose ball. David Woods, mighty effort to get to him, but Jason Moody, too much pace to go and score.
Well, here comes. Here's the turnover. This is the crucial part. A real solid tackle there by Daniel Wagon. Take a look at this. Nathan Hindmarsh picks up. David Woods do some sprint training, for goodness sake. He leaves him for dead, runs away from David Woods. Woods eventually gets to him around about half to 20 metres, but this fella, too big, too strong. Just one man's not going to put him down. Great offload. And the top try scorer for the Eels last year, Jason Moody, he got 10. He's got off to a great start this year.
In fact, was the leading try scorer for Parramatta last year. And Taylor get the chance to add another 2. And that trek to Darryl Halligan's record. Just inside the 20. A career reborn in blue and gold. Who'd have thought? No mistake. It split the posts, and very quickly. It's Parramatta 12. Penrith nothing. What a turnaround we've had in just a couple of minutes.
They're a very hard team to score against Parramatta. I noticed the Penrith are trying to get Jason Taylor one-on-one, and with the Parramatta defensive line, it's pretty hard to do. They work and they cover one another's backsides, and to isolate a player in the Parramatta defensive line is pretty hard, so they might have to come up with a few different tricks.
The kick comes down to Hodgson. And Michael Vella gets his first chance. So both coaches have gone to their bench for the first time. Some changes made. Craig Greenhill has been given a break by Roy Simmons, and Jody Gall in 18 is out there for him. Richards coming in off the wing. Trying to give the forwards a break. It's Drew, takes it from dummy half. Gives it to Vella again. Keen to throw himself into the fray. A handy replacement to be able to call on for Brian Smith as Taylor gets a long kick away over the head of Robbie Beckett. He'll go all the way back to the in goal to pick it up. Taylor giving them some rock-solid points with his conversions and penalty goal attempts, and also some big meters with his kicking and general play.
There's Jason Taylor, gives them a new dimension. It's a young Parramatta side, and because they're so young and enthusiastic, they're a great chasing team. Taylor's kicking game is going to be probably about 3 or 4 times better than it was because of the chasing team the young Eels provide him with. Expect to see Jason Taylor really ram home the kicking advantage as we get near the end of each of these halves.
Craig Gower got the kick away this time for Penrith, and it's Hodgson who brings it back to David Woods, who was stepped and threw out that left arm. No call from Bill Harrigan. Jason Moody fires an awkward pass for Wagon to handle. From about 10 metres on his own side of halfway. 12-0 to Parramatta over the Eels. Over enjoying the action, Warren Smith along with Laurie Daly and Russell Fairfax calling the play for you. Drew goes across the halfway line. Hodgson keen to get to dummy half. Himself involved in the play again. Taylor, short pass from Ryan, away to Ian Hindmarsh. He split them open, back on the inside. Taylor puts on a step of his own, gets it back to Ian Hindmarsh. Oh, they're in again. Rampaging baby Eels. And it's 16-0. We've still got plenty of time left in this first half.
Well, again, that was just great hands by the Parramatta defence. You can see the winger hanging back there from the Penrith Panthers. They throw a second man, or an attempted second man. This bloke takes the eyes off the bloke running short. He goes through the gap. That's Ian Hindmarsh. I think Butner was trying to get in there on the try-scoring action, but Taylor, like all good halfback, backs up and gives it to Hindmarsh to score the try.
Yeah, the Eels did their homework here. They got the numbers on their opposition. Some neat little play there. That's the key break. Jason Taylor finds himself with the ball, and I bet Brian Smith's saying right now, what a sensational buy. He offloads, and that is try number 3 in the space of something like about 8 or 9 minutes. As Parramatta Eels side are on fire.
The key to that try was movement around the football. The Penrith Panthers assumed someone else was going to get the ball. They took the wrong attacker and left a gaping hole for the Parramatta attack to take advantage of. They're a different side this year, Warren.
So many options in the forwards, and some real ball players amongst them. Really have picked up the slack left by Jim Dimmick and Jason Smith. Here's Jason Taylor, drills it low and hard. And it's 18 points to 0. They may have been favourites coming into the game, but I'm sure none of us thought we'd see that scoreline after 26 minutes, and especially after the first 17 or 18 minutes. It was very much a nil-all tussle between them.
Yeah, well, they've had some great derbies in the past, but I think they'll win a lot of fans tonight, the way the Eels are playing. I mean, they're playing expansive football. They're throwing the ball from one sideline to the other, and it's working for them.
Well, they are the premiership favourites in some people's eyes. They are showing every reason tonight why they would be. Here's Bill Harrigan, and he has got the Panthers in front of the kicker at the kickoff. Let's take a look at this again. And you can see on this right-hand side a couple of players sneaking up there, perhaps Carter and Woods, at least a couple of metres in front of the kicker, and now a golden chance once again for the Eels.
Well, you'd hope the Penrith Panthers would have been warned about that penalty, because every kick-off you could ping someone.
Well, let's hope all the referees, if there's going to be a clamp down on any facet of play tonight, and in fact throughout the weekend, in fact the year, they are strict on that one, and they stay as disciplined as Bill Harrigan was on that occasion. Here's Ryan, looking for try number 4 they are. Vella, proving a real handful to take the ground himself. Just 15 out, now Harrigan. Calling for to be removed. An extra ball it was.
Onside and hold, tackle
the goal as Michael Vella waits to get things back underway. The Eels are red hot, they want to keep the flow going. Here's Ian Hindmarsh, the scorer of 1 of 3 tries for the Eels. Drew Gives it off to Ryan. Kalis turns it back on the inside for Hodgson, of all people, to be coming straight through the middle of the ruck, and he was met by the solid shoulder of John Cross. Taylor fires it to Wagon, who had to wait for it. Still a hole there for Nathan Hindmarsh. Throws a long pass to Moody. He'll score for his second time tonight, and the Eels are dead set carving them up. It's almost embarrassing for the Panthers.
They've done it so well tonight, the Parramatta Eels. They have used the football more than any time I've seen them play last year. They keep their width about them too, the Parramatta Eels. The winger stands right on the sideline, gives the ball players time and a bit of room. Hindmarsh does fantastically well. He draws in 3 Penrith Panthers, I should say, and just gets a lovely ball out to Jason Moody. He's got too much pace and a great step off the left.
Just over 11 minutes remaining in this first half.
They all thought Moody was going to carry on and head towards that left-hand corner. Here's his pass from Hindmarsh. He can do absolutely no wrong at the moment. Moody, they thought, was going to pin the ears back and head for the corner post. He just stepped off the left foot. Even had to fend a couple of his own players out of the way. They were in the queue, and why wouldn't they be? Because every time they get the ball at the moment, they are scoring try after try, and Jason Moody, their leading try scorer last year, has a double already, and we're still a few moments away from hearing the half-time siren in game 1 of the season. Taylor to make it 4 from 4 and make it 24. Blot. Curling back, but not enough. So he misses for the first time this year with the Eels in a canter with 10 minutes left in the first half, lead 22-0.
Jets, battle stations now for the Panthers. It's another try, and you can forget about this game. They already trailed 22-0. If they let more points, you can just forget about it. And if they go to half-time too far behind, they don't have a great habit of taking the game if they trail going into the break. So the Panthers have really got to start to get some points on the board.
It's amazing the number of options. We've spoken about the options that the Parramatta Eels do have, and so many ball players now, especially in the back row. But Nathan Kalis has been at first receiver. We saw Andrew Ryan in the lead up to that last try at first receiver. Nathan Hindmarsh has been a one-man band all of his own.
Well, it's been just a great performance by the Eels tonight. I mean, they've had plenty of guys out there willing to do the tough stuff, like Solomona there.
Gets his chance straight through the middle of the ruck. Oh, he slipped the pass to Hodgson. He might have been well downfield as well. Here's Taylor stepping back amongst them.
But they've changed their style of play. Last year, I keep harping on it, they were more routine in what they did. But today, they're throwing the ball about and they're having great success with it.
Here's Ryan. Picked it up. Gets batted backwards. I thought touch perhaps by a Panther. And that is the last tackle, so no touch according to Bill Harrigan. Drew cuts back to his right-hand side. And we'll send Robbie Beckett back again. And we'll find the touchline. And even when he doesn't mean to do it, everything going right so far. They'll get a little bit of a breather here. No 1 minute break midway through the halves to start this premiership, as opposed to what we saw last year where after 20 minutes the players were given a 1 minute drink break.
It's amazing what a bit of confidence can do. Those 4 tries, Brad Drew stepping out of dummy half now, taking the kick. In the beginning, it was just Jason Taylor who did the kicking. Unusual for Brian Smith. He likes to normally a structured game. He's given them a bit of room for the first time. And these young fellas are really appreciating it.
I think it's to do with the players he bought in the off-season too. Jason Taylor likes to use the ball. Michael Butner likes to get his hands on the ball. David Solomona. So they've got guys that can do things with the football.
Let him up, one. Let him up.
And here they are trying to work it out of their own 20. They've had so little football in the last 15 or so minutes. It really has been the proverbial blue and gold tidal wave. Sloppy play the ball. Jody Gall, and Harrigan is happy to let that one go. Gower gives it off to Scott Sattler. Roy Simmons knows he can always count on more than 100% from Sattler when he's in the side or coming off the bench. Moody. Wrapped up by Steve Carter. He'll be absolutely furious at the moment. 4 tries in this opening stanza. A 22-0 scoreline against them for the Panthers. Carter, the almost hoarse, you would think, screaming at them behind the line as they stood there watching Jason Taylor line up conversion after conversion. Here he is. Gives it away to Vella. Standing in the tackle. And finally getting to ground. The help of Ned Caddick around the laces. Wagon gives it to Taylor. Quick hands on the short side. Bielicki got it back to Moody. He takes it down to the 30. 5 tackles gone. Hodgson at first receiver. To Taylor. Grubbering this time. Looking for a trailer. Andrew Ryan was there. I'm not sure the kick was as deep or as wide as he thought it was going to be. And in the end, Rodwell wrapped it up pretty easily.
They do it so well, the Parramatta Eels. They're well drilled here tonight. They've got great width. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to spread the ball, break it down, and then go on and keep going and try and catch the Penrith Panthers short of numbers, which they've done on a couple of times.
Now gives it off to Jody Gall. Late inclusion. He's due to miss this game and make his 2001 debut next week. Oh, floating ball. Richards picks it up. They won't pick him up. Jorgensen can't get him. Beckett will dive in vain. Try number 5, and it goes to Pat Richards. 26-0. Even when they haven't got the ball, they can score tries.
Well, we spoke earlier about maybe the floodgates might opened up for Parramatta. Penrith are trying to do a little bit more with the ball. Cross wasn't one of his better passes, and Pat Richards, like all good wingers, he anticipated, was up in the line, and he had too much pace for the cover defender. And you would nearly say that Penrith can't come back from there.
Well, Pat Richards was caught in no man's land. There was a 2-on-1 situation. If the ball goes to him, the ball comes, it just falls short. Richards didn't need a second invitation. I thought he was a little bit quicker than that, Robbie Beckett. I thought he may have got to, but Richards pinned the ears back. Long striding. Jeez, and he's only 18 years of age, Pat Richards. He is just going to get better and better as the year progresses. He's going to have a massive season this year.
It's hard to think of a winger who's come into the top grade so late in the season as Richards did and was pretty much a permanent inclusion from that point on and all the way through the finals. Absolute automatic selection throughout the weeks in those finals games, and here he is starting off the season in dynamic fashion. Taylor once again from right in front makes it 28 points to 0, and the looks on the Penrith bench tell you a lot about the scoreline. Still time for the Eels to add yet another one. Could they crack 30 in the opening half of the season? It's been amazing enough as it is. Wouldn't be a surprise to see them go to the length of the field in this set of 6. Here's Vella. What an impact he's had since coming off the bench. These Panthers will be sick and tired of this blue and gold swarm just keep coming at them.
Well, both him and Solomonis is coming off the bench have lifted the tempo even more. Both have been aggressive in defence, and both have been prepared to really hit it up and take 2 or 3 defenders to put them down. That's what's creating some space. This Parramatta side out wide.
PJ Marsh out there getting his first run. Here they go again, spreading it quickly. Hodgson wrapped up only just. He's still got the arms free. Here is PJ Marsh finding a gap. He won't need much of a one. Here is a real will-o'-the-wisp. Vella gives it to Taylor. Goes to Hindmarsh. That's Ian Hindmarsh, a try scorer, 1 of 5. 4-pointers they've scored in this first half. Here's Jorgensen. Will wrap it up. And they've got 3.5 minutes to try and stop this scoreline advancing anymore. The Panthers. Beckett. Really haven't had a scoring chance of their own to speak of. Spent much of the first half behind their own try line. Good tackle again. This time it's PJ Marsh.
Well, that could be a little bit of an indication. PJ Marsh looks like he's on at hooker, leaving Jason Taylor at halfback. I think PJ Marsh, or Peter John, as he likes to be called, might not get as many shots at halfback as he'd like.
There's Jody Gall. 50 metres out from this Eels line. Rodwell switches it. Carter. They may as well try something now. Another pass that could well have been intercepted. It comes to Beckett, but there was a forward pass amongst them. Well, spectacular stuff from Girdler after the whistle, though. It won't count. Perhaps their best piece of play in the first half ends with this pass here being ruled forward and hard to argue against.
Yes, well, he might have been lucky he wasn't penalised there, Ryan Girdler, but it's looking not real good for the Panthers at this stage. Let's hope they can keep the Eels out.
Oh, not real good, Loz. Come on, that's an understatement. It's going to take a superhuman effort. I don't think Roy Simmons can get to them soon enough. Half-time can't come soon enough for Royce to have a chat to his boys and trying to get their mind back on the job.
Taylor will play it. It's Marsh to Wagon. Still time for the Eels to add another 4-pointer. Marsh again to Butner, getting closer to the action. Taylor standing outside him. Solomona, great hands, got it back to Butner, put the kick in. Now the chase between Beckett and Richards. The ball's still there and Richards got very close to it. It was sitting there. Jorgensen was looking at it. So was Beckett, and Pat Richards might have put the ball down right on the dead ball line. It was closer than even I thought.
I'm giving you plenty, mate. I'm giving you plenty, but it's a forward pass, I can't give it out.
Wasn't much in it. Ruled to have been taken over the dead ball line by the leg. Was it Jorgensen?
Touchy was right
or
there
Beckett? It doesn't matter.
Onside, fellas, don't go in front of the line.
Off the leg of Peter Jorgensen and dead, but Richards almost snuck under the radar. Rodwell with the dropout. 45 seconds left. Solomona casts it back up towards them. Here he is again, getting their hands free to Michael Butner. He was almost free. Popped the ball backwards.
Parramatta ball.
Marsh trying to contest it there with Ned Caddick, and Harrigan says it's still the Eels' ball. Hodgson will burn a tackle from dummy half. 4 tackles left in this set of 6. Vella just charges at Craig Gower and takes him with him about 5 or so metres.
They've got to wrap the ball carrier up, otherwise Parramatta are offloading at will.
Taylor cuts it back to the blind side. Wagon through a gap, or so he thought he was. Tackled by Lee Hopkins. They come the short side again. Violecki trying to monster his way over. Will get across the line and be held up on the stroke of half-time. And what a half of football. To start off this Telstra Premiership in 2001, you'd have got long odds about the Parramatta Eels leading the Panthers at half-time by a scoreline of 28 points to 0. Incredible stuff. And I'm sure they'll come back out in the second half, gentlemen, intent on adding a lot more tries to that total we saw of 5 in the first half.
Yeah, well, that was one of the great displays of football, and especially being the first game of the year. Parramatta, 28 points. I don't know how many times they would have scored 28 points last year, but I don't think it would have been too many.
We'll take a break and come back to look at all the highlights from the first half in just a moment.
You hold the ball, that's 9/10 of the law possession.
All right, well, they are coming back onto the park, and there he is, the man under the most scrutiny in the pre-season. He's played a very fine game as we take you back to Warren Smith.
Thank you, Cameron, and so much work for this team to do, as you were just saying, with Steve Mortimer. What a half of football they had to just watch a tidal wave of blue and gold come at them and at them and at them again, and in the end 5 tries to the Eels, 2 to Jason Moody, 1 to their fullback Brett Hodgson, 1 to Pat Richards, and 1 to Ian Hindmarsh. What a barnstorming effort that was. And the heads down on the Eels, or the Panthers' faces rather, as they come out of the sheds at half-time. The youngster there, Matthew Reek, will get his chance at some stage in this second half. He will, in fact, take the field for the Panthers to begin this second half. They'll defend the southern end. We saw an avalanche of points at the northern end of Stadium Australia in the first half, and we'll see if the Panthers can keep that trend continuing, or the Eels will give those fans at the southern end plenty to cheer about. And there are, of course, a lot of Eels fans here tonight. One of the most popular teams in the NRL. A concerned look, and why wouldn't there be, on the face of the captain, Steve Carter, for the Panthers. Playing his 223rd game tonight in first grade for the Panthers. Needs another 11 after tonight's to break that all-time club record for the Panthers, which stands at 233, belongs to Steve Carter's coach, Roy Simmons. You can only wonder what he would have said to his men at half-time as Bill Harrigan puts the arm high and blows time back on to begin this second half in game 1 of this 2001 competition. And Michael Vella, what an impact he had coming off the bench for the Eels in the first half. He carts it back up to them. Nathan Hindmarsh, the best player on the field, bar none, in that opening 40 minutes. PJ Marsh at dummy half as they spread it wide from the early tackles here to begin this second half. Butner it was who played it. Solomona, number of offloads, proving a real handful to get to ground again. Marsh spreads it away to Taylor. Kicking game was very good in that first stanza. And it sits up for Robbie Beckett. We'll see what sort of enthusiasm the Panthers have in this opening set of 6. It could set the trend for this second half, Laurie.
The trend for the second half, Warren. We noted in the first half that the Penrith were running from dummy half a lot and going one off the ruck. I think they need to throw the ball around a little bit more, similar to what Parramatta are doing, and try their luck.
Sattler pushed away from both Solomona and Andrew Ryan. Gower gives it off to Jody Gore. Last tackle for them coming up in this particular set. The ball has come loose there as Jody Gore, he didn't play it. Bill Harrigan will say play on. A return to the bad old days in that particular tackle. Brett Hodgson will try and bring it back for the Eels. Richards. He was innovating in that first 40 minutes, high in the air, low to the ground when he almost scored. The ball trickling across the dead ball line in front of him. It comes loose. And it's the Panthers who have it through Ned Caddick. He's down on the ground making the tackle, and now they've got it. Carter trying to throw a cutout pass to Girdler. Butner. Gall can't pick him up. Rodwell or Hopkins, is it trying to get there? It was Hopkins. Now it's Richards who tries to keep the arm free and get it away to a support player. The Eels almost scoring their second try from an intercept. Marsh gives it away to Wagon off the left foot. He was almost through the line. The Panthers, the alarm bells are ringing in the opening minutes of this second half. Marsh coughed it up cold as you like from dummy half.
Well, that let the Panthers off the hook. Butner, I thought he should have pinned his ears back and went for the corner, but he decided to find Richards and passes. Robbie Beckett gets the ball.
Here's Gore. It was almost the 6th try of the game for the Eels. Russell Fairfax as they went deep on attack yet again from a turnover.
Well, the Panthers are looking for some inspiration. Steve Carter thought he might just provide with that long pass. Would have gone very close to a try, but geez, it really backfired, I can tell you. They still need some inspiration, the Penrith Panthers, if they're to get back into this match. And as I've seen Steve Carter do it plenty of times before, he'll be trying to do just about everything himself. I'd like to see Craig Gower and Ryan Girdler do a lot more. They are two of the key players of last year. They've had a fairly quiet opening 40 minutes. The second 40, they really need to step up to the plate.
That's one Penrith to me. Target straight.
Moody takes it away from dummy half of the Eels. And one of the players missing out there for the Panthers in the second half.
Tackle 2, you believe it there? John, you're a blood bin, mate. You're a blood bin. You can stay there, they come and see you.
And of course, players who leave the field this year
First time out.
with a blood bin ruling will be included amongst the 12 maximum interchanges if they are to be replaced. Alan Mayer out there doing the training duties for the Panthers, trying to wipe up that blood on the cheekbone of John Cross, see if he can get him dried up and being able to play on. For the moment, he stands behind the defensive line, and now they're happy that the blood has been cleared up when he's got the mouth guard back in and back in the defensive line. No interchange used up there by the Panthers with the blood bin rule. I was going to say that Peter Jorgensen isn't out there for the Panthers, and The reason is he's been diagnosed with a grade 2 tear of the shoulder. He won't be back out there for this game, and perhaps several to come.
Well, the news only keeps getting worse for the Panthers with the news that Jorgensen has done a grade 2 tear of the shoulder. They really need, as Russell mentioned earlier, the Craig Gowers and the Ryan Girdlers to do something special in this second half if they're going to win the game.
I mean, the amount of improvisation that Roy Simmons has to come up with week in and week out with the injuries the Panthers have, he would have made a great jazz musician. Just comes up with things on the top of his head, and he needs to at times when they drop like flies, and they have done. Must have taken them on a training run through a ladder factory at some stage. Sattler comes back to Chris Hicks. He fires it to Gower. Tries to dance his way through the line himself. Carter in a dummy half, trying to inspire something. Girdler rolls it in behind them. Hodgson comes across. Another player who'll see a lot more time at fullback this year than he would have done under the old rule last year of unlimited interchange, with Brian Smith very keen to rotate the likes of Hodgson and Schifofsky.
Put the hand on the ball.
Another penalty for the Panthers, sticking that hand onto the ball, and with Clinton Schifofsky moving off to the Canberra Raiders Euro Club, Larry, that Brett Hodgson will be back there in the number 1 and playing the more traditional role throughout the season, you would think.
Yeah, well, he was one of the stars for Parramatta last year. He missed the last few games with a broken jaw, and he started the year off on fire. And, if the Parramatta Eels can keep him fit, they'll be hard to beat this year.
They're talking about fitness. Looks like Ryan Girdler might just have a little bit of a limp. Let's not hope it's that groin problem, but there's a slight little limp in his gait.
And if there is, you would think with this scoreline, especially being the way it is, they would get him off there and make sure he was able to take the paddock next week. Marsh, wrapped up by his now opposite number, Craig Gower. A good job at dummy half since coming on for Brad Drew, with about 10 minutes to play in that first half. Sattler comes away to John Cross, getting behind them almost.
Well, in a case of catch-up football for the Panthers right now, they're going to make some mistakes in this second 40 minutes because they've got to score some tries. In fact, they don't just have to score some tries, they've got to score first if they're going to get back into this game.
Well, here they are, 24 metres out from the Parramatta line. Rodwell runs to them, puts a kick in that nobody was really chasing through for, and Richards will get back there and play safety first football and take it across the dead ball line. So they will get another set of 6.
This is the first time they've been in the Eels half and putting pressure on. That's their first double 6 for the game. And this is where they need the Gowers and the Girdlers to stand up. Russell said it before, we need to see the Panthers score next in this game.
No addition to that half-time scoreline of 28 points to 0. And you can see the 4th interchange. And that's how they'll do it this year, with the sideline official holding up a number corresponding with the amount of interchanges made by each club. And the change will be for the Parramatta Eels as David Solomona comes from the field. And so the Eels, and here we are, almost 50 minutes into the game, making just their 4th change. How quickly things have turned around, and you can't say at this stage the standard of football is suffering.
No, you certainly can't, but I also believe that the Eels have had the majority of possession, so they're not tired. The Panthers look a bit ragged.
Jody Gore hitting it up on the open side for the Panthers. 28. Gower puts it off to David Woods, and he's wrapped up just inside that Parramatta 10-metre line. Carter to Rodwell. Good job, good hands behind him as it bounced up for him. Cross keeps it alive to Rodwell. Cut back on the inside, looking for the line, got within a whisker. Sattler at first receiver, rolls it in. Chasing through was Hopkins. He won't get there in time. Hodgson cleaned it up, and the Panthers will get another repeat set.
Well, that's better play by the Panthers. That's their second set of 6 in a row. You'd think the Eels might be starting to tire with the amount of defence that they've been doing in the last couple of minutes. But Rodwell taking the ball to the line just gets pulled up short. And Sattler does a good job to put the ball in behind the line. But Hodgson, like a good fullback, cleaning up.
Yeah, well, no doubt subconsciously they will have dropped off, off the effort a little bit because they're so far in front. But it's interesting to note that when Parramatta are under real pressure, that they can lift again. Now, that's a sign of a real good football team. But they have taken, to me, they've just taken their foot off the pedal just a fraction.
Carter, away to Greenhill, and he'll bump it forward. Plenty of time out there, but a rest towards into the first half. Did Greenhill. Here's Hopkins getting it at pace back in behind the ruck. Rodwell, ball behind Sattler. Another switch they were looking for. Here's Gower trying to push away from Ian Hindmarsh and almost did so. The ball came loose.
Called it. Well, no, it was about the same time, but I did call it. Yep.
They'll get their fourth set in a row. A poor pass quickly taken. Picked up, though, and fired out. It comes away to David Woods looking for the line. Did he get it down? No, he was held up.
Well, that is great work by the Eels. And I know Brian Smith will be excited by the number of points that they've scored tonight. But I think that piece of work there, the desperation that they've shown to keep the Panthers out from scoring, he'll be more than happy with that bit of effort. That was just great, At 28 points in front, you may be able to give a try away. But the desperation of the Eels stopped it.
Hodgson did well to spin Woods onto his back, and then he was wrapped up by Violecki. Gower to Carter. Ball back on the inside for Sattler. He's taken it up time and again for no reward tonight. Gower, fumble at dummy half.
Not a thing wrong except you tried to rush it.
And the coaching tips come from Billy Harrigan. As he said, he just tried to rush it. He was away too quickly. Perhaps it was to play the ball there. It certainly upset Craig Gower's rhythm. Sattler dropped it getting back to his feet. So just nothing going right for all the men from the mountain. And this first of several local derbies this weekend has been very much a one-sided affair. Jamie Lyon gets ready to take the field in jumper 3. Was listed to start the game at right centre. Michael Butner has filled that role for the Parramatta Eels. And interesting to see what role Lyon takes when he gets out there. Brian Smith during the week saying that he may use the youngster as a 5'8" at various times this year.
Yeah, Craig, you've got to keep a tunnel for me. You've got to keep a tunnel. I want a tunnel. Right, now hold it there. Now let me have the tunnel. The ball's got to come out in the seconds. Just get up there and put the ball in.
As simple as that. Harrigan not mucking around. Jason Taylor, he want to get the ball in. They lead 28 points to nil. Now there's a bit of a dust-up. This local derby boiled over for the time being. The boys in the scrum coming together. Some amused looks, some rather sour ones as well. A little bit of work here. You can see to David Wesley on this near side. Was it Nathan Kalis, in fact, going head-to-head and toe-to-toe, and
right, number 11,
all sorts of things coming into contact with each other there. Craig Greenhill, never backward in coming forward, and it was in fact on the other side with Michael Vella and Scott Sattler letting a couple go, and the fans certainly like it.
Well, that's what we haven't seen for a while, and the fans have got something at last to be excited about. I don't think that hurts.
17. Parramatta 17. No, you've got to listen to the report. What's going on? Just both listen to the report. Just hold that across your nose, mate.
The scrum broke up. The Penrith player grabbed the Parramatta player. They held each other, and the Penrith player threw the first punch. And then after that, they carried on with other blokes coming in.
Did you see that from the replay, did you? No, he already said that to me before that, Steve. All right, get it out of the game. I put the scrum down. It was an ugly scrum. It shouldn't have been that. It should have come up like that. All right, out of it. Penalties against you. You're going to have to go and get that fixed up, but right? All right, penalties go on Parramatta. He's got to go. Yep.
Well, we definitely will see an interchange for our blood-bin rule for the first time this year, and I dare say that Scotty Sattler might need a little bit of work on that hooter.
Oh, geez, Warren, Steve Carter doesn't miss much, does he? What he said to Bill Harrigan then, for the linesman, did you see that on the replay? Classic stuff from the skipper from the Penrith Panthers.
Marsh. It's away to Vella.
That's
14 minutes gone in this second half. No addition to the half-time score as they go through Hodgson. Away to Nathan Hindmarsh. Pushed away from yet another couple of defenders and picks up more metres. Taylor. Away to Ian Hindmarsh.
That's 4. Now let him up.
A couple of tackles left and they work it up to the 30-metre line. Ball back on the inside from Taylor to Kalis.
I'm last. Ball back to me. That's Duke back.
And the halfback will chip it back across the ruck. Getting back there, Chris Hicks was set upon by the chasers. Wagon got up very quickly and made sure they will get 6 more tackles.
Well, the ball went to the one side of the ruck and Chris Hicks had to follow, but Taylor smart enough to put the ball back the other side, and Daniel Wagon with a great chase, chasing over the dead ball line.
Both sides.
Well, I'd be a bit worried if I was Royce Simmons right now. It's the second set of 6 for the Parramatta Eels, and I can tell you it's danger time.
They're playing some great football, the Eels.
Oh, the Eels are looking marvellous. The more they get the football, the better. They haven't had the football in the second half. That's why there's been no addition to the scoreline, to be quite honest.
Here's Vella. Once again takes it back to them, and he had the arms free, got the ball away. Comes back to Jamie Lyon. Marsh goes to the open side. Kalis trying to angle back in and open up the play on this right-hand side of the field. And go to the short side though. Taylor gives it off. Comes from Nathan Hindmarsh. Back to Taylor. It has been the perfect start for the number 7. His first game with the new club. Lyon playing a 5/8 with Wagon outside him for the time being. Takes it towards the post. 10 metres out from that Panthers line. Taylor turns it back on the inside again for Kalis. Back on the inside for PJ Marsh. Just like they practice at training. The 6th try of the game and make it 32 points to 0.
Well, that was just pure genius by Jason Taylor. He got the ball. He saw that the Penrith Panthers weren't covering up on the inside. Turned it back into Kalis. This is a super ball by Kalis. Back to PJ Marsh. These young Eels, I think that Brisbane might have started the year off as favourites, but after this performance, I've got no doubt that the Parramatta team will be on the bookies' side now.
Yeah, great play here. What about this last pass? Sent over the top, and he's there. He wants a roll. PJ Marsh, or to his mum and dad. Peter John Marsh gets around there, and that is super stuff. It was all made in the play before that, though. They went to about the goalposts. The 2 centres didn't change side. They went back to where they came from, and there was a massive hole on the inside. They didn't cover up. Inside man needs to get the inside runner. It didn't happen, and PJ Marsh just found himself in open spaces.
Nabs the second try of his short career, and Jason Taylor to add another 2 points. What a percentage over his long career. 3 out of 4 he averages, and he'll do better than that tonight. He's had so many from right under the black dot. It really is a procession all the way of the blue and golds. 34 points to 0. And they could go a long way here to keeping the Panthers scoreless. Last time they were held scoreless was in fact in the second round last year against the Bulldogs. Canterbury beat them 26 points to 0.
It's great to see a side show no fear, Warren. Parramatta get the ball and they are using it beautifully.
Moody has grabbed himself a double. One of the few times tonight Nathan Hindmarsh might in fact be the only mistake he's made all night.
Balls this side, fellas. Props this side.
Nothing wrong with the pass. It was a good one. Just
Matt, step up ready to get it in with.
couldn't find the handle. And the Panthers
Can we go?
will get
Heads
possession
down.
from just outside the
That's
20.
it.
Carter angles a crossfield, gives it off to Beckett. ringed in by a trio of Parramatta defenders. Pulatua started the game in a blur and in fact made the best run of the night for the Panthers early on in that first half. It's hard to think of another break. In fact, it's hard to think of a line break that they've made, the Panthers. Gower, dummied across. Here's Rodwell, now standing very wide to his right-hand side. He was forced to come back to Steve Carter. And he's 13 metres out of net loss of about 10 metres. Gower goes to the air, kicks backwards. They'll lose more metres. They'll fly high on the far side, but Matthew Reek took it. It was into touch when he did.
A bit too big the kick there from Craig Gower. Rick took it well, but over the sideline. But it's the Parramatta side tonight, not only with the ball they've been great, but defensively they've been fantastic. Out wide they number up better than any team in the competition. They're always pointing, they're always talking. They very rarely get caught out.
Well, Laurie, I think that's the key to defence, because what it's done, it's changed the Penrith Panthers' game plan completely. They've had to just throw their game plan out the window. That's how good the defence of Parramatta has been. You know, and what's going to come out of this game is that this Eels side, they're going to zoom way up in favouritism for this competition after just one performance.
Hindmarsh plays it. Marsh almost got squashed as he nearly fell back on top of him. Taylor rolling it in behind the defence. Good piece of work by Woods to get back, and now he's lost it.
I call letting go, play it. I call letting go and play it, we'll have 10.
And after the ball was kicked away as well, Will Harrigan will give the Panthers an extra 10. A nifty piece of work from the young hooker slash halfback.
That was a great bit of work. Cheeky little bit of work off the hooker.
Pulatua. His brother Tony, of course. More credentialed footballer, watching from the stands tonight. Gower from dummy half, going himself and takes it very close once again. Hodgson went high to wrap him up. Rodwell in there. Fires it to Cross, trying to push away from Jamie Lyon. He was able to do so. Beckett got there. Bill Harrigan will head to the video referee for the first time this year.
Just have a look at the grounding or his feet for the line. Okay, have a look for the grounding of the ball and also feet touch line corner post, mate.
There you see what Bill Harrigan is after. Mick Stone is the video referee, the man who'll be called upon. Here's our look at it. Nothing wrong with the grounding, and I think we'll see the green light.
Yeah, gee, didn't have much room to work in there, but he's done a professional job. You know, he's down to half a metre on that sideline with the cover of the fence coming across straight at him, and he stayed nice and low and got that ball down, gee, just in the nick of time. I thought that his left knee might, or his left foot might have touched the touchline, but no. Gets it down. That's a classy bit of play from the winger. No room to move at all.
Yeah, it's a great try. It's amazing how the classy wingers make that look easy.
Yeah, he did make it look easy.
They get down low, they barge in at the line, and it's pretty hard to stop. And Robbie Beckett is extremely hard to stop close to the line.
Here's Mick Stone's decision, and it is as we expected. The Panthers won't be shut out tonight. The trail by 30 points. And here it is again. It was Cross who just pushed away from the defence there. It was Jason Taylor, in fact. I called it as Jamie Lyon coming across, sliding. Cross got the fend up there in the chest of Taylor, pushed away from him, and it just gave him that extra space to slip the pass to Beckett.
Yeah, well, he done very well there, Beckett, as Chris Hicks is lining up for a shot at goal. Ryan Girdler still on the paddock. We're speaking about Girdler's involvement there earlier in the night. That might tell us the reason why he hasn't been involved enough tonight. Hicks taking the kick at goal. Normally Ryan Girdler would take this. Obviously he's gone into the game a little bit underdone.
That groin strain hands the kicking duties to this man. It splays wide off the boot. So it stays at a 30-point differential. The Eels over the Panthers, 34-4. And we've got just over 17 minutes left in this first game of the season. An avalanche of points to the away team, if you like, tonight. This is a home game for the Penrith Panthers. An unhappy way to start the season for them. They were always going to be up against it coming into the game with so many injuries, and Roy Simmons will be loath to use those injuries as an excuse after the game, but really was a big factor having so many players missing, especially from the forward pack.
Especially the bigger name players in Pulatua and Matty Adamson. Don't go writing the Penrith Panthers off. They'll be back in this competition. They just need a good performance under their belt as soon as possible.
Well, they've got 17 minutes or so to do it, and I can tell you that Parramatta scored 3 or 4 of their first half tries in the space of 8 minutes, so they're starting to find their feet a little bit. Their rhythm's slowly coming back. They need some football, this Panthers outfit. They're a more mature outfit, and they need to get some football under their belt. This game will do them the world of good, but it's not over yet.
Lee Hopkins in this tackle with Kalis over him, and Hindmarsh there as well. The ball just coming loose. The Eels have it from the scrum wing. Stark contrast this start to the season by Parramatta. Last year in their first 9 games they went 2-7. Were a long way off the pace, but came home with a good finish of the season, obviously, to come home in 7th position in the top 8 and then go within a game of the grand final. Only stopped by the eventual premiers, Brisbane. Marsh to Ryan, off the left foot, left Greenhill in his wake. Now spread to this right-hand side, that's where they go. Wagon backs into them, keeps it alive. It comes to Wesley. Impressive, the front rower tonight. Hodgson, as he likes to do, gets to dummy half and they're deep on attack. Taylor fires a flat pass. Good one, 2 into the gap for Violecki. Flipped it out to Hodgson, but Harrigan was right there and it was forward.
Yeah, change over there.
It was a bit of bad luck there by Jason Taylor. Showed good vision to throw the long ball to Violecki. Violecki's last pass just floats a little bit forward to Hodgson. Otherwise, he would have been under the sticks. But a great ball here by Jason Taylor. Last tackle, the Panthers expected him to put the ball on the toe. He throws a beautiful ball to Violecki. He just couldn't keep it from going forward.
There were so many questions about the Eels signing Jason Taylor in the off-season. Jason Taylor tonight has shown them exactly why Brian Smith held him in such regard. Tomic pumps it forward for a gain of about 10. Rodwell will clear it out for the Panthers. It sits up nicely though for Jason Moody. They have it in good position already, 40 metres away from their own line. Here's Kalis looking for the offload again. Oh, Hodgson was slipping through looking for the offload and got collared by Craig Greenhill. Harrigan says we'll continue on, men. Wesley, he takes it forward. Marsh waits. It's Wagon. Feigned the kick. Last tackle again for the Eels. Ryan gives it off to Taylor. Doesn't kick again. Gives it to Ryan. To Violecki. Short ball to Moody, who only had to take it and was looking for number 3.
Come on, fellas, power back.
Once again, Taylor ignoring the kick, keeping it alive, going through the hands, and they went very close.
Well, things you can't coach in this game is vision, and Jason Taylor has got that. Last tackle, takes the ball to the line, throws a beautiful pass to Andrew Ryan. Ryan gives it to Violecki. Ooh, Greenhill taking him out.
And that was a couple of tackles earlier when Hodgson was slipping along the hip of Nathan Kalis as Domic takes it outside the Panthers 30. Hopkins bounced away from one tackle. It was Jason Taylor. Here's Gower picking it up and going quickly. Girdler throws an awful pass. Of course, there's always a question mark in the mind of a player going into a game with an injury, and I'm sure it's one that Ryan Girdler would like to forget in a hurry.
Well, he'd never do this mistake again, I don't think, Ryan Girdler. But it was great defence by the winger, Pat Richards. He came in, he realised that Girdler was going to pass the ball. He's come in and stuffed it out. But he does look like he's carrying an injury, Ryan Girdler. And that's not real good news for the Penrith Panthers.
Certainly doesn't look like the player who was such an integral part of Australia's World Cup campaign at the end of last year. Lyon will play it. Violecki. Hasn't seen a lot of work tonight as Solomona comes on, but damaging run-up.
Gee, I've got to say, some of the outside backs have probably seen more of the football than they've ever seen in a couple of years at Parramatta now that Jason Taylor's joined the outfit.
Certainly in the first two-thirds of last season, Andrew Ryan's had a great game, slipping a number of balls, getting into first receiver at times as well. In the first half a couple of times, but they just seem to have so many options at the moment. Taylor cutting back in behind them, gives it to Hodgson, quick hands, razzle-dazzle. Lyon throws an improbable pass, it sits up for Violecki. He got it back to Ryan, now Moody looking for number 3. He flings it backwards, gets it to Lyon. He swivels, stands there and almost reached out to score himself. What a try that was going to be. Hodgson flings it to Taylor. He hung onto it somehow. Kicks in the one motion, it will be too deep. But what great play from the Eels. They've turned the clock back once again to the early 80s.
Well, they spoke about Canterbury being the entertainers in the early 80s as well as Parramatta. But Parramatta tonight are really showing us that they're going to be one of the teams to beat this year.
4 premierships in the 80s for Parramatta, and this side has premiership written all over it in this first outing for the 2001 season.
Domic. Quick play the ball. Gower again. A one-handed pickup, but he got it away to Lee Hopkins. Go left, Rodwell to Girdler, stepping off that left foot. Last tackle for them. Gower was late, getting the dummy half, but he fired a good pass to Steve Carter. Goes high in the air. Hodgson took it under all sorts of pressure and fired a pass away to Buettner. The counter-attack from the get-go. Here's Moody. Come to Chris Hicks. He almost got past him. They've gone 30 or 40 metres from the bomb. They'll try it on from anywhere these days, it seems. Kalis slips a pass. It doesn't come off this time. Cross cleans it up.
Trainer, off. You're coaching. Get out.
It's great to see a team showing so much confidence. Catching the bomb. The defence has got him wrapped up 10 metres out from his line, but he's got his arms free and he'll offload. That's just great play by the Eels.
Billy Harrigan, honouring the former first grader himself, Alan Wilson from the field, one of the trainers for the Eels these days, and the Ryan Smith coaching staff as Vella waits to come back on, and Harrigan thought he was doing a little bit too much instructing out there as the Panthers go right through Chris Hicks. Domic. Well of work carting it up in this second half. Inside the final 10 minutes, 30-point ball game as Carter chips in behind them. Hodgson. He gives it off to Richards. Some real size in this Parramatta backline these days with Violecki, something like 98 kilograms, and Richards would have to be run up there with him, the 18-year-old. Moody's no string bean. Jamie Lyons up there almost pushing the 100-kilogram mark. They're a very big side. You throw in Michael Buettner. What a force they're going to be. Jody Gall waits another stint out there. Scott Sattler alongside him. This time it's PJ Marsh who gets the kick away. And he picks up plenty of metres, a la Taylor. Almost away down that blind side. The Eels have conceded just the one try tonight. They'd love to keep it that way. Here's Gall out there now on the field. Back out there with Sattler. As Ned Caddick and Greenhill get a break for the time being. Carter tracks the crossfield, slips it back on the inside for Domic. Rodwell chipping. Hodgson beautifully positioned. Knew what they were up to. He put it right on his chest.
Positionally tonight, he's been outstanding, Brett Hodgson. Every time the Penrith players have put the ball through or in the air, he's been there to clean it up.
Marsh. Still filling the dummy half role on occasions, although Brad Drew is back out there with Taylor getting a breather at the moment. Those three will be in some sort of rotation system, you would figure, throughout the season as Drew goes from dummy half himself. The former Panther laying it on now. Got to it again. Put the toe on it. It comes off a Panther. Goes to Solomona. He got a pass away to Ryan, but Harrigan pulls this one back as well for a forward pass. Ryan can't believe it.
He was in under the sticks. He's had a great game, Andrew Ryan. David Solomono passing the ball to Ryan. Oh, I don't know about that. I think Bill might be trying to even things up.
Ryan thought, you beauty, I've got one, and was dismayed to hear the whistle blow.
What about Brad Drew? Got the little kick away, chased. That's what set it up. Solomano, super pickup on the burst too. I thought Solomano should have passed the first time round. Gee, there wasn't much in that pass either.
Well, the Eels have got it back because the Panthers have coughed it up, bringing it out from the very first tackle. Pulatura was who put it down. Here's Michael Vella. Almost got through them. Drew waits. He'll go to the left-hand side. Marsh scooped it on the first bounce. Kalis is wrapped up high by Frank Pulatua. Left they go again. Butner to Lyon. Shrugged away from one. It was an easy target for Chris Hicks. Off the hip. It was Violecki who got the short pass from PJ Mars. Solomona won't die with it. You can rest assured about that. He gets the pass away at the last possible chance. Drew keeping it alive. He gives it back to Violecki. Put the dance on. Put the fend on Steve Carter as well. Lion grubbers, too big. Well, when you lead by 30 points, Laurie, you may as well try anything, and they just about are.
Well, they are trying a lot of things. The thing that they've done well tonight is keep the ball alive. Penrith, they just haven't wrapped up the ball carrier, and they've struggled in second phase play.
Well, we've seen just about everything, bar an alley-oop pass from the Eels.
Just get them ripping up the jersey.
Well, they're young and enthusiastic, the Eels, and they're not going to be scared of anyone this year.
He needs a new jersey. There's too much blood on it.
Well, Scott Sattler, who had that nasty gash in the nose, they've stopped the flow of blood on the nose, but
he's got to take the jersey off.
Harrigan isn't happy about the jersey. And he's quite within his rights to order Scotty Sattler from the field to get that jersey changed. And they'll quickly do that.
All right, we all set?
It won't cost them a minute change, but it matters little at this stage. Just less than 5 minutes to play. And the Eels will start this 2001 Telstra Premiership as emphatic winners. Domic. Puts it across the 30. Hopkins. Look at those offloads. 31-4. There has been a bath in every regard tonight. Solomona puts a big hit on Steve Carter. Wants it out to be one of the buys of the season. Rodwell almost got a great pass slipped away. Now Hodgson on the counter-attack again. Has eyes for the try line. Fires a good pass to Andrew Ryan, who might get that try eventually. Harrigan in line with that pass, and it was play on as it went to Jason Moody. Ryan floated a long pass. Moody took it on the fly. Hodgson now to PJ Marsh. 15 metres out.
That's for you with this business all over his face.
Phil Harrigan.
Hey, I'm calling Mark up. I haven't said where your mark is. Hey, I haven't said where it is. You wait till I point your mark out. You got a scrum for that.
Oh,
here.
His hands full.
I've got to tell you where your mark is. You just took it on your own bat to take it. I've got to say where it is, where you go, right? You just took it off your own bat. And then collide with me.
PJ Marsh, they got the penalty. Chris Hicks being a little bit over vigorous in the tackle. And then PJ Marsh was off the races. Bill said, we'll have none of that. I want you to come back here, and it's cost them possession. The Panthers will get it from the scrum. Here's Girdler. Gives it off to Beckett. Wrapped up by Hodgson. And Harrigan has found a knock on. Has been a sorry night for the Panthers.
Now you can have a PJ.
Nothing going right for them.
Don't go in, fellas. You haven't got the ball. Steady, hey. Have a breather. Have a breather.
Well, that was on the mark. He said he took it off the mark.
Okay, outside
He
legs
took
up.
the tap right where the penalty was given.
Here is Marsh now from the base of the scrum. Butner. High pass to Violecki. Got away from Matthew Reek. He got him from behind the youngster. Although Violecki got it back to Jason Moody. Still looking for a hat-trick. Inside the Panthers 20 and inside the 2-minute mark. Here's Vella. Wrapped up by Jody Gore and Frank Puatua. Kalis, the first receiver. Just bangs it up again. Caddick wrapped him up.
He's been strong tonight, Nathan Kalis, taking the ball forward, leading the young Eels to a victory in the first game.
Here's Wagon putting the step on. Did beautifully. And Solomona will trot around untouched. But Daniel Wagon just put on the foxtrot and he drew them to him and had that right arm cocked, and Solomona said, I'll never score an easier try as long as I play first grade.
Well, that's been the story all night. The Panthers not wrapping up the ball carrier. Great work by Daniel Wagon. Stood in the tackle, offloaded with his right arm to Solomona, who just puts it down untouched under the post. You see Rodwell looking at the other opposition, not looking at the ball carrier. Great pass. And this has been a very convincing win here today, Warren. Or tonight, I should say, by the Parramatta Eels.
Daniel Wagon has started the season at 5'8", and they talk about it. And why not give him a hug? David should be giving Daniel Wagon the hug after laying on such a beautiful pass for him. And Wagon will spend a little bit of the beginning of the season at 5'8", but I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll see him in the back row at some stage. Played lock at times in the 2000 season. Even in the second row, he was used by Brian Smith. And Brett Hodgson, who will be the backup kicker to Jason Taylor in this 2001 competition, won't have an easier start to his year as a kicker. But under the black dot, there is Taylor looking on with Ian Hindmarsh and David Wesley, and that will do it. The Eels, what a win. 40 points they've scored in game number 1, and they've beaten the Panthers 40 points to 4 in front of a lot of Parramatta fans here at Stadium Australia.
Well, the Parramatta fans would be excited after seeing their team perform like that tonight. They did say they were going to play a different brand of football, and they've proven that tonight. Some of the players that stood out for me tonight, Jason Taylor, steered them around the park very well, and their forwards, led by their captain, Nathan Kalis, was outstanding.
He was terrific. Michael Vella also, what a play to come off the bench, an international. David Solomona also came off the bench. He played for Samoa at the World Cup, and well, we saw what he can do towards the end of the game. Jason Moody is all smiles. He picked up a double. And it was the only way to start the season for the Eels. They did it in blinding fashion. Such an impressive win. And it's going to be tough for Brian Smith at training during the week. You would think, how does he improve on that? They were almost perfect.
Well, they were almost perfect, but I'm sure Brian will find a lot of things that he can improve this side. And, you know, tonight's performance, he couldn't have been more happier with the first game. They were probably rusty in their trials, but they've shown tonight, as we mentioned during the call, that they'll fear no one.
PJ Marsh, just 20 21, such a youthful side still. They'll shake off that baby Eels tag in a hurry, though, if they keep playing like that. And there's a section of the Blue and Gold Army who came here tonight just up the road from Parramatta Stadium. And with form like that, when they get back to Parramatta Stadium in the coming weeks, they will absolutely fill the place to the rafters. They love their winners in the West. And while the Panthers tonight have lost this local derby by a big margin, I'm sure they'll also come out to Panther Stadium in good numbers in the weeks ahead, try and spur their side on them. And when they get a few players back on deck, you figure they'll be a lot bigger force than they were tonight against Parramatta. Let's go downstairs. Here is Russell Fairfax with one of the Parramatta men of the moment, Jason Taylor.
Well, Jason, you must be delighted with your debut for Parramatta. Could you have dreamed it was going to turn out like this?
No, it's funny, as the week was going on, you have little thoughts going through your head. Most of them were positive, but every now and then a little negative one might sneak in. You think, oh, gee, I hope things don't go against us. But I never really thought that we'd get away with them like we did. The Panthers had a few injuries, but we played really well. It's a great start.
You look like you've been a member of this side for half a dozen years.
Yeah, I feel very comfortable. I've got to thank Brian Smith for the opportunity to play with the side, and he brought me to the club knowing the style of footy that I like to play, and he's fitting me into the team to play that style, which is great for me, and it's working with the team so far, so I enjoyed it enormously.
You've got a good young pack of forwards in front of you. You must be delighted. I can see you smiling as soon as I mention them.
Yeah, it is. There are some players in the game who are very dependent on the players around them, and I'm one of them. It's great to play with those guys. They're very hungry to do well, and I don't have to sing their praises. It's pretty easy to see how talented they are.
Jason, congratulations on your game. Looking forward to many more this year.
Thanks, Russell. So am I.
Okay, we're joined now by the skipper, Nathan Kalis. Nathan, did you dream you'd get away with them 40 points to 4?
No way, not against Penrith. They're too good a side. They had a few players out tonight. The ball went our way, all night, so I'm sure Penrith will be back this year. It's just a good start for us.
Jason Taylor's performance was marvellous today. Really compliments the side.
Yeah, that's right. His direction is just, it's just so good for the young team. That's why Brian bought him, and he's proved everyone right.
I think if there's going to be one downer out of tonight's game, you're going to be the new premiership favourites.
Yeah, well, that's right. There's always a lot of expectation on Parramatta. We've got great fans, and they always expect the best, and we expect nothing less as well.
Brian Smith, what's he been saying to you guys? Looks like he's added a new dimension. He's given you a free rein to attack. Yeah, that's right. We worked hard on our skills during the off-season, and I just showed tonight. We had a fair bit of luck tonight. Penrith are a much better side than that, so it's going to be a tough year, and we'll just have to see how we go. Congratulations on opening the season with a win. Thanks, Russell. Thanks.
Nathan Kalis, Captain Marvel for the Parramatta Eels as they defeated the Penrith Panthers 40 points to 4, of course.